It was a quiet June evening on the Isle of Sodor. The day's work was done, and Skarloey had just arrived back at Crovan's gate after completing a shunting turn at the slate quarry. Peter Sam and most of the other engines were already at the shed. "Good evening, lads. Man, am I glad to be home at last."
"How was your day, Skarloey?"
"To be honest, it was horrible. Those fucking slate wagons were giving me a real hard time, constantly biffing into me and sending salutations that can't be repeated as I shunted them over to the base of the incline. It got to the point where I wanted to bash those little shits off the old iron bridge, but my driver and fireman wouldn't let me. The quarry staff even thought I was just Duncan in a different livery."
"Well, at least that's all behind you now."
"Quite literally." "Nice to see that you've still got a decent sense of humour, Aeneas. Just a minute. You don't half look worried, Peter Sam. Penny for your thoughts?"
"Sir Handel should have come back to the shed by now, but it's been over 2 hours since we last heard from him."
"Really? That's most unlike our number 3. Usually he's keen to finish his work and get back to the shed as soon as possible."
"Shall we send out a search party?"
"With all due respect, Peter Sam, I don't see much point in that sort of thing. Our line isn't too long after all, so it wouldn't be too difficult to find Sir Handel again. In any case, I'm sure he'll come home soon." But Peter Sam wasn't so sure. While the other engines were fast asleep, the Skarloey Railway's number 4 left the shed as quietly as he could, which wasn't very quiet at all, given the fact that he was a steam locomotive. At least the others were heavy sleepers, as opposed to concrete sleepers. In lieu of a proper team, the little Kerr Stewart 042 saddle tank and his crew had decided to form a basic search party themselves. They also took some wagons loaded with tools that could help re-rail an engine if necessary. Peter Sam couldn't help feeling nervous as he trundled along the line. When he got to Strawberry Grove, he was surprised to find a Duke's cousin sitting in the siding.
"Hello, Bertram. I wasn't expecting you to still be out at this hour. May I ask what you're up to?"
"Mr. Percival asked me to take him and his family to a friend's house for a dinner party. My crew and I are just waiting for them to finish up before heading back to Crovan's gate."
"That sounds nice. I don't suppose you have any idea where Sir Handel might be?"
"Sorry, but I'm afraid I don't. But around 3 hours ago, I did see him pass by. I tried to say hello, but got no response, and instead, he just spoke to Mr. Percival and went on his way. Perhaps you should continue up the line and look elsewhere." Despite the blow to his morale, Peter Sam took Bertram's advice anyway and kept going. After crossing the huge stone viaduct, Peter Sam and his crew decided to stop and have a rest.
"Oh dear, we've come all this way and still found no sign of Sir Handel. Where in heaven's name could he be?"
"Just a minute, chaps. I think I see something that looks like an engine in that shed over there."
"That must be Sir Handel. Let's go and check to make sure."
And sure enough, Peter Sam found the SKR's number 3 parked just outside the shed at Reneus Station.
"Are you alright, Sir Handel?"
"Indeed I am. Thank you for asking."
"But I'm confused. Why didn't you come back to Crovan's gate tonight?"
"I just felt like sleeping somewhere else for a change, and said as much to Mr. Percival when I met him back at Strawberry Grove."
"Is there something on your mind?"
"More like someone."
"Oh, okay. Care to explain?"
"Well, there was a group of Brazilian rail fans that came to our railway a fair while ago, and then they went off to go and see our cousins over at Chorus. I don't know if you remember them."
"Can't say I do. Must have been when I was in the works to be fitted with my diesel ejector and special funnel."
"Well, I actually ended up making friends with one of the rail fans in particular. Underline friends. Her name was Julia, and she was one of the nicest people you could ever meet. When I wasn't busy with my work, we got to talking about the railway network in her home country and how much it differed from our little 2-foot 3-inch gauge line here on Sodor. And to top it all off, she happened to be a big Phil Collins fan, and even introduced me to a song of his that I never knew of until that day.
What's the song's name?
I don't care anymore.
That sounds most interesting. I'll have to ask my driver to look it up sometime.
And you should have seen the look on her face when I told her about a Genesis song named The Brazilian.
Really? Small world. What are the odds of that happening?
I know, right?
But before I forget, why did you want to rest here at Linnaeus tonight instead of Crovan's Gate?
Sometimes I just want some time to myself, although oftentimes I don't really know why. But in this case, I just wanted to reminisce on past memories, even if Julia and I never thought to get a picture together.
I understand. Especially since I remember wanting to be away from it all after my embarrassing accident with the trucks. But I tried thinking about our heyday on the Mid-Sodor Railway to calm my nerves, and at least Rusty was there to help me. I don't suppose you want to come back to Crovan's Gate with me? Or should I just leave you here?
I'd like to stay here for now. I'll come back in the morning.
As you wish, Sir Handel. See you later.
And with that, Peter Sam puffed out of Linnaeus Station. He felt much better now, and headed up the line to turn around on the lakeside loop before returning to Crovan's Gate. The next morning, the SKR's number 4 passed on to Skarloey and Linnaeus what Sir Handel had told him, which resulted in the veteran Fletcher Jennings engines breathing a sigh of relief. As time went on, Sir Handel still went about his work as best as he could, but secretly wished that either Julia would come back to Sodor or that he could go to Brazil.